What's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new edition of Horror October. For today, we're going to be doing day 25 of Horror October. And for today's film, the film that we decided to watch yesterday was a movie in theaters called Synchronic. Last year for Horror October, I had watched a film in the theaters, Parasite. So I thought it would be cool to sort of keep that tradition and see one theater movie to be able to say I saw, a movie in theaters for one of my movies for Horror October. And I know it's not exactly like a great time to go to the movies, but in my opinion, as long as you're wearing your mask and you're being safe, it's fine. But that's to each their own. But I think it's fine. And the theater I went to, there was literally no one there. Like, I did not see anyone else there. Me and my cousin went to see it, and nobody was in the theater. So, didn't even have to worry about, coming into contact with anybody. Yeah. But yeah, we watched a film called Synchronic. It's technically not a brand new film. It's from 2019. It premiered at a film festival, but was released in theaters just this past weekend. So I figured, might as well take this opportunity to see it. There was another horror movie out called The Empty Man, which doesn't sound good at all. I just did not hear good things about it, so I was like, I'd rather not take a chance on that, especially since I watched Knock Knock the day before that, which I totally hated. But yeah, Synchronic is a pretty good movie. I wasn't totally into this movie just because of its whole premise, but overall it was a pretty well made movie, I'd say. So Synchronic stars Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan, who Jamie Dornan is most well known for playing the main character in 50 Shades of Grey. A lot of people probably wouldn't know him. And Anthony Mackie, obviously you know him as the Falcon in the Avengers, and also he plays a character in Black Mirror too. But yeah, this film follows a group of guys that essentially are EMTs, both living sort of their own different lives in certain ways, but at the same time they're both kind of in a slump of depression for their own reasons, which is kind of interesting. You have an interesting dynamic of them both being in a rough spot, where Jamie Dorman's character is married and has a kid and just still isn't happy even though he's married, and ends up losing his kid, which makes things even worse. And then Anthony Mackie is the opposite. He just sleeps around with different women and isn't happy about it either. So yeah, so you got that going, and then they discover this drug as EMTs that's being used as a way of killing people, as they're finding these bodies. These bodies are showing traces of this drug called Synchronic, and they soon discover that, or more, Anthony Mackie himself more discovers that this drug is the root cause of their death, and he seeks to kind of find out more about it, partly because people were dying, but also because this daughter had gone missing. So he wanted to try to figure out what happened to the daughter, and he wasn't sure, because people were just dying or having really weird things happening to them. So he decides to try the drug for himself, despite it looking like he was just trying to get rid of it. But he actually decides to try it for himself, and this is where things get really interesting, because of this whole setup that we have with the plot. So basically, we discover that this drug has this ability to send you to an alternate reality, or an alternate time. I guess like both. It sends you into a different time period, but also like a different. Actually, it just sends you into a different point in time, depending on where you are when you use the drug. And it's not like fake either, is the weird thing. It's not like a hallucination. It's like you're really in that place. Like when you take the drug, you get like transported to this place for about 7 minutes, and then like there's all these like weird rules behind it. It's pretty deep, like with like everything that goes on in it, and like what we learn about like how this drug works, like how like you have to like you like take it, and then you have to be in a certain spot to go to a certain place, and then you have to go back to that spot that you like spawned in order to like go back to your time. And yeah, just some cool creativity there, with the storytelling that we see. How it unfolds is essentially Anthony Mackie, really wants to get this girl back, so he eventually finds out that she had gone where this rock was and left with a drug. So he goes to the rock and finds her, and I can't say I didn't see it coming, but he brings the girl back, and he doesn't make it back, which is like, the noble sacrifice. Like, kind of saw it coming, a little predictable, but still, good ending, well made. He gets essentially stuck in this like time period because he had run out of pills, which is kind of sad. And like overall, it's pretty good. I mean, like it's a little cheesy, but they do touch on like some like cool themes of like how life is like sacred, and because they're EMTs, they're seeing like the exceptions where like they see the people who don't make it, or like the very small percent that don't make it, whereas most people like die normally like on a bed. So it makes both of them want to appreciate life more. And I almost forgot, also the big part of it was that Anthony Mackie had a brain tumor that was also making him want to kind of like appreciate life more. And I think Jamie Dorman's character kind of felt the same way because of losing his daughter. And the brain tumor does tie in to how Anthony Mackie is able to go back and forth between like worlds. So I guess it affects like his pineal gland, which I guess like changes like his ability to be able to go back and forth in between time. That part of it's a little weird and like unclear to me, I guess. And like essentially like he and like the drug has like different effects on like kids, where like kids will get like stuck in a certain area if they take it, whereas like adults like don't get stuck, I guess. I'm still a little unclear on that, but basically because Anthony Mackie had a brain tumor, he was able to actually experiment with this drug, and he had this cool thing going where he was like videographing the evidence of it. Overall, I really like this movie though. It was a good amount of fun. I mean, like I wasn't like blown away by it just because it wasn't like extremely fun to watch, but it was overall like really well made and just a good movie in general. And Anthony Mackie does give a good performance. I think he's like the standout star of this film. Jamie Dorman is kind of just like there and just more like average. You're kind of like, he's all right. And like keeping up with like the theme of like time in this movie, we do see like non-linear points in the movie where like they'll show something that was like from the past, like later in the movie, kind of like it, where it kind of like it's kind of like going along with the whole theme of like the way that time is and the way that time can be like altered. So it's got that going for it. I haven't seen any of his other films, but supposedly this film director Justin Benson has made like a lot of good like sci-fi confusing horror movies like this, or just like confusing like really like mind-bending movies like this. So I think he did a good job with this one. But yeah, I'm gonna rate this movie a 8.2 out of 10. I think it did solid. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Make sure to like if you have enjoyed, and subscribe to see more content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.